The demand for precision applications in machinery-intensive sectors is as strong as ever. Aerospace, medical devices, and high-performance automotive parts are among industries focusing on improving performance and reducing wear and tear with the support of precision components such as bearings. That is why I am so pleased to introduce Evan Poulakidis, North American Director at CCTY, to talk a bit about the sector that he represents. Thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me. So CCTY was founded in 2001. We've been involved in manufacturing since that time. Our plant is almost 2 million square feet in Zhenjiang, China. We're currently building a brand new plant in Vietnam, Haiphong, Vietnam, which is about 700,000 square feet. We do a variety of different types of products. Unlike many bearing companies, we do a lot of bearing assemblies. So we integrate the bearings into the assemblies and work with our customers in that scope.
Oh, yeah, I'm very excited to be able to talk to you specifically about some of the trends that you are seeing across North America since you are based here, but you also have roots in other parts of the world. So what trends are you seeing across North American industrial sectors, and how are you adapting your product lines to meet demand here?
So for our company, we see more and more companies getting away from just standardized bearings and going to a world of customization and thinking outside the box. It actually is a exciting time for our company because we are being given projects that we require a great deal of innovative engineering, and that tends to be a strength of our company. The projects that we are given take a great deal of time to develop, which chases away some of our competitors because the amount of initial investments and low quantities to start, and a great deal of great deal of engineering in order to achieve the goals that our customers set forth. So I think in a short way to answer that, our customers require high performance bearings uh, at the smallest type of bearing you can imagine, and it presents great challenges. I mean, that's what we're seeing across all of our groups that we work with.
Can you delve a little bit more deeper, perhaps giving a couple of examples on how some of these factors are influencing your own expansion into the bearings market?
Well, without going too deeply, we're working with a number of companies that are requiring just a great deal of lower torque and high performance, and all these aspects lead to developing um, not only the bearing but materials that go into the bearings. I think what we're able to do, because we handle all the processes, including weaving our own PTFE and doing our own plastics, it requires a great deal of research and design before we come up with a solution. So that's happening almost in every industry we work with right now, that the engineering departments that we work with come up with an idea, and they bring us in on the ground floor and ask us to develop their platform that will work. Certainly they have the idea, but at the end, it's really our design that we come up with.
Oh, that's very interesting. It's fascinating to hear a little bit about how you, about your process. I want to step back. I'm going to get back to a little bit more of that in a minute, but I wanted just to get back to talking about top level industry trends again. How have you been impacted, for example, by reshoring or nearshoring. I'm thinking here about how it influences your own supply chain strategy, and does it even affect lead times in given the way that you work? And what steps are you taking to support domestic reliability?
Sure. So reshoring and nearshoring for us really hasn't been a factor since our home plant is in Zhenjiang, China. But with that said, we've been involved in building this new plant in Haiphong, Vietnam. The reason being are really two. One, the geopolitical climate between China and the U.S. has not been good. The projection is it's going to be a little unstable. A number of our customers have come to us and said, hey, we need you to get out of China and start producing someplace else. So that triggered us to align ourselves with Vietnam because of the ability to build a plant there that we've invested over $43 million into that plant. We get asked all the time about bringing it back to the US, but in order to do that, I think we're looking at probably tenfold what we're building as far as an investment goes from US to Vietnam. So the Vietnamese plant is solely going to be used for North America. So the geopolitical situation was one element, and two, the tariffs were another element to the reason to build in Vietnam. With that being said, part of the issues with Vietnam is the labor situation. You can only have 10% of your plant be non-Vietnamese. So from that standpoint, that's been an issue that we've had to deal with and find ways to, one, train people, and two, bring people in that would want to stay in Vietnam for an extended period in order to get the plant up and running.
Can you, yeah, I guess in a general sense again, comment on some of the advancements that you look at and also talk about the materials that you use?
So, it's an interesting question regarding sensors and the fact that they've actually been around a long time. What we're seeing is more and more usage of sensors in applications, and for CCTY, actually, that's a benefit because we tend to be a high level manufacturing that needs to um, go after high performance type of applications. So the more sensors that are being used, I think it's a better opportunity for CCTY to um, separate itself from other bearing manufacturers. The materials we use, there's a number of different materials that we're developing constantly at the plant. When we tend to look at a application, we try to develop materials that'll fit that application. So, for instance, on our bushing line, um, there's a number of different elements that we're using in order to meet like a number of automotive applications that require much higher degree of performance than what has been out there in the field. And it's allowed us to gain traction in the markets that at one time we weren't supplying. For instance, seating is become a big market for CCTY. And the reason being is we developed some materials that are much higher in performance than our competitors. And Detroit and all the car manufacturers in seating applications are requiring a much higher degree, a much higher standard of a bearing or bushing in order to meet their customer needs. So we have a whole staff of engineers that are developing materials daily, really to meet the current degree of performance that is necessary.
Yeah, so what would you consider, sorry, what would you consider to be some of the hurdles for your industry, and then bring it down to back to CCTY. What do you identify as some of the risks to your market?
Yeah, so I mean that's a big question, but certainly the customers are really they're thinking outside the box. They want bearings and bearing assemblies to last under some severe application loads and things that have never really been thought of before. And again, our customers tend to rely on us to design and come up with solutions to their needs, and it's expensive. I mean, the engineering resources that go into helping our customers is a requirement that costs a great deal of money, great deal of resources, and really the reward, our average sales cycle is over 18 months. So during these 18 months, there's a lot of changes that go on. So you're never working with economies of scale. And um, we take that on with the thought that if we succeed with this, there'll be a benefit. And these benefits tend to last, 3 to 5 year contracts. So um, certainly when we look at a project, and our customers don't bring us projects that don't eventually have some type of reward. That's not to say that every time we've designed something it's worked, and we've gained back what we invested, but I will say that, look, we've been an award-winning bearing company and innovator of the year, supplier of the year, and a number of those reasons is because of the amount of initial work that we've put into something to make sure that our customers succeed. So, yeah, it's a strain to come up with some of these solutions, but in the end, it really does separate who CCTY is compared to our competitors. A lot of the really big bearing companies don't want to take on these kind of projects until they're already in use and they can make a me too product, where we're taking situations where not only do we not want to make a me too product, we want to make something that's different and better, and especially on new platforms where we can be involved in the first run of something. That's really the strength of CCTY.
Yeah, it does. It does sound to me as though customization or application-specific engineering seems to be your strength. I wonder if you can unpack that a little bit more for me, and just how you balance that with cost and as you talked about production scalability. What does that mean for you?
It's difficult. So over 95% of all of our projects are customization. And we actually have a board that sits and looks at the potential before we take on a project. So some examination goes in before we'll take on something. But with that said, we also know that it's been the bread and butter of our company is to be known as the company that will try something, even if it's difficult. Um, we've invested into that. We're we become more of an engineering company up front than a bearing and assembly company, and really that's the direction our company has gone with. We see where the bearing industry, the commodity bearing industry is. We don't want to be that. That's not who we are. We're not looking to sell that type of product. We're looking to sell a higher grade product that require a great deal of engineering, new materials, new thoughts. And some of the bearings we're working on, quite frankly, I've never seen, integrating certain elements of an application connected to a bearing. There are going to be some new bearings coming out uh, within probably the next 6 months that I don't think anybody has seen. So um, those are exciting things for our company. Yet at the same time, the reward for it is not there right away, right? So in the initial stages, we'll produce 100, 200 bearings. And really, the cost of doing that is hundreds of thousands of dollars. People don't realize it. Our customers don't really realize it. Um, but the reward has allowed us to grow in a direction that for us has been the right direction.
Evan, I can't thank you enough for giving me these insights into the direction that your company, a bearings company, is taking. So thank you very much for being here today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.